what comes to mind, and I'm not really familiar with it, but it seems to kind of follow the same, uh, uh, I guess, ideology to an extent. But I've seen some Universalist churches. I wonder if that is somewhat tied to pantheism because they refer to the deity as God as the universe, and there's just kind of all open, welcoming. There's kind of a loose doctrine of some sort, but it's more just a gathering of people, and I guess I don't really know a whole lot about it, but just from what I've seen on the outside. And then also in the chapter, you say that there's somewhat of an allure to pantheism by intellectuals. Why is that?
Well, Universalist Church, on that first point, there could be more, different kinds, but in general, Universalist churches essentially started out being from Christians who believed that everybody will be saved. They don't believe in hell. They believe everybody will be saved no matter what. And that was a very liberal stream. And so then that just sort of bled into this generic, like all religions are good, everything's good, do whatever you want, come on, hang out, everything's good. So down the line, just this is just for people who are, somewhat religiously versed and would be like, well, that's not technically what a Universalist church is. But at this point, Universalist churches could have just, who knows exactly what they're doing in each one, and very well could be a lot of pantheism going on there. Um, the draw of intellectualism, I think, comes from well, especially what Aslan points out is he objects to the doctrine of the Trinity, and this is also something common and is had a surge in popularity in the exchange between Christianity and Islam contemporarily. So there's an intellectual objection to the Trinity. It says it's not logical, it doesn't make sense. How can you have a God who is one and three? Um, and this goes back and forth. And I don't, I probably disagree with a lot of apologists and their methods in terms of the Christian side. I mean, and I'm willing to be corrected on this, but my first inclination is just say, yeah, it's not logical and doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the, but I think the idea that God is something that we can comprehend is the real fallacy. Like, well, why wouldn't God be this mysterious union amongst multiplicity that we can sort of see and sort of grasp, but not totally? And I mean, it doesn't bother me that and I don't think it's a threat to God or the Christian religion if to say that, yeah, the doctrine of the Trinity is not primarily logical. You can logically look at a purpose and see, okay, why might it be the case that this is the way that God manifests? And you could give a logical, as I'm trying to do, a logical explanation for the necessity of a mystery and the obviousness of God's uh, essence going, well, I guess there's one essence technically, and whatever, God's being going beyond our comprehension. Like, obviously, that's the case. So, anyhow, the intellectual side of things objects to that sort of core mystery and wants to say, no, 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 we should be able to understand it. We should be able to nail it down and completely comprehend it. And so pantheism, among other approaches, has that appeal of saying, yes, you're right. We should be able to understand it. And here's how it really works. And here's how we understand it. And the idea of pantheism eliminates this idea of a separate creator, a separate location, even though that's not the right word because it's a spatial term, but a separate whatever area where there would be this being of God, and then they wouldn't say reduces, but I would say it reduces God to the creation. Now in the best case, pantheists view it as a living, miraculous creation, and that it is in itself sacred and in itself God. Um, but I do think they ultimately limit the idea of God by doing that. And uh, that makes sense because you would have to limit God in order to think that you have understood God.